You're listening to Materials Business, the podcast where engineering, leadership, and innovation meet diversity and inclusion. Hosted by Monica Hernandez, engineer, entrepreneur, and industry advocate. When we embrace different perspectives, we create stronger industries, smarter solutions, and lasting impact. Now, let's dive in.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on when are you watching us. And thank you for being part of the material business community. My name is Monica Hernandez, and I am your host. And I have a wonderful, wonderful person with me, Bami. Thank you for coming for a second time to the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Monica.
We are celebrating this month women. We are celebrating engineering. And then we are celebrating scientists. And we are so many things. And there is a lot of buzz about AI. Actually, we just had 2 panels on a row, February, March, on AI. So I was so excited when we connected and you reached out on the amazing work that you're doing. So I'm like, for sure, we need to showcase this.
Absolutely.
Bami, thank you for being here. Please tell the audience, who are you? Maybe some of you guys that haven't seen you in the first episode, they can go back and refer to it. But for the ones that haven't listened to it, who are you?
Thank you, Monica. Hello, everyone. I am Bamidele Farinre. I am a chartered biomedical scientist, an Agile practitioner. So in the role of Agile project manager and Scrum Master mentor, I'm an educator. I'm a role model. I'm a STEM advocate. I know I keep going, right? And I'm a published author of the book, The Mentor's Journey from Learning to Leading.
Amazing. Every time that you speak, I'm like, oh, I want to hug you so bad. It's like, oh my God, so good. So inspirational, man. It's so cool. So we want to talk today about governance and then this amazing achievement that actually was published in our latest newsletter. So for those of you that are not part of that, please subscribe because there is a lot of really good things that only get said if you're subscribed. Tell us about that.
That. Let's go into the backstory. I like to tell the story.
I love stories.
I know, because we have to understand how something becomes. When you see the result, you need to see how did you arrive at the result. So this submission that we're going to be talking about today with AI equity, in STEM, diversity and all that, the conversation had been ongoing. So I think, was it 2 years ago, I had the opportunity to feature on a podcast with it's called Tea with Lily, and we were talking about AI. And then I didn't even know this time is gonna come. So we spoke on like AI in healthcare, in biomedical science. How has it evolved? What has happened? So I told a story about how things have really changed since. For us, AI is like automation, robotics. That's what we use, for diagnostics, just for the benefit of those that don't understand, like what we're talking about, automation. So my background is in the laboratory, and in the lab, we've come a long way from when we used to test one sample at a time, one sample at a time, to being able to test like hundreds and sometimes thousands of samples within few hours, so that we can have a proper improved outcome for our patient when it comes to their management. So that's the backstory of that. And last year as well, I was invited to speak, and it was on AI effectivity, productivity. And I'm like, wow, this conversation keeps coming and keeps coming. But funny enough, like few years back, I can remember over like nearly 50 years, about 12 years ago, we were talking about this in the lab. We're like, oh, because now with the advent introduction of robotics and automation, like I said, that our jobs are going to be taken. This was part of the things that we talk about when I was in my professional examination, that is it going to take our jobs and things like that. And then look at where we are today. So this was a request for submission by the APPG. The APPG is the All Parliamentary party group within in the UK. So for sitting in the arms of the STEM, their STEM diversity inclusion. And so they put an open call for submission. That tells you about representation, isn't they want people in the general public to come forward and tell them what should we work on. And I thought, why not? So I said I took on the call, but I had to sit down to think about what should I write about? What is critical right now, to our profession, to the society at large. And then so that was the way the topic of AI came about. And we've experienced it, like I said, as an educator, as a practitioner, as a mentor, as a role model, we've seen the impact of AI in our lives, in our profession, professionally, personally. So I thought, what a better way and what a better team to actually anchor that for us. So that is where this came about. I was amazed. I was actually so happy when I saw that when I had the email that my submission was successful, and then they're going to work on, imagine a whole year project. That is amazing.
Absolutely. Congratulations. What a
Thank
great
you.
achievement. And I cannot think of a better representation for us in that committee than you, because you had all the background, all the experience, like you said, in the academia, but also in industry or in lab. And then now you will have eyes on regulation. And you mentioned something really critical, and is how can you overcome that thought of, am I the one person that should be doing this?
Mm.
And this came out on the panel that I was leading a couple of months ago. It's like, why should I put myself out there?
Oh.
Am I really the one? So, no, like I have you here, so I have to ask you, how do you answer that?
To be honest, I did ask myself that, because when you put in a submission, especially of that, exactly, it's a law. And I remember when I was preparing it took my time. This is my time. This is my precious time. But I'm thinking about the impact. I'm thinking about the possibility of, if the submission was successful, what's going to happen. Because sometimes especially if you have the platform, this was a platform for me. This was an opportunity. And I've always been the one to go for opportunities. Yeah, so I thought, what a better way. I do have a voice. And like you did say, my experience, my expertise, my background puts me at a better position to speak about such things, because it's something that I've experienced. So it's not something that, how do I put it? So it's something that is a daily lived, what is the word? I think that experience talks about it. It's personal. It's personal to me. It's what I've been hearing my mentees talk about. Is what we're hearing about even in our profession, in the industry itself, and at large. And if you think about the general population as well, the society, most people they don't want to hear about AI, because they're thinking about the disadvantages of it. Well, the way I see it, I say, one, AI is not just like a technical revolution; it's a human one, because somebody trained this AI. Yeah, somebody trained it. It's a combination of data, of input. There's so many things that has gone in for it to be able to do what it's doing now. The real question is not about what AI can do, but who does it serve? Who does it include? And who gets left behind if we're not intentional about it? That is where my voice was coming in. And the thing with this, the APPG, AI Equity Project, is that it talks about equity. Equity is not automatic. As we know, the AI has inherited biases of the world because of what they're trained on. And without human oversight, they definitely would continue to reinforce these inequities that already existed within healthcare and the society at large. And when you're talking about representation matters. Can you imagine myself, Bamidele, people can see me, the people coming after me. It means that the people that are designing it needs to be reflected. The people that are using AI needs to be reflected in the development of it, the diversity of communities, the impact and the outcomes as well. It's really key. And when we're talking about it, it's not the goal is to ensure that AI becomes a tool that widens the access for all in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, in education, in healthcare, not to narrow it. So that's the whole idea. That's why I said yes. If not you, who? Because I because at the end of the day, if it's like you have an illness and you're not speaking to your doctor about it, how is you get it? How's your doctor gonna know? Okay, this is the treatment plan for you and things like that. So that's the way I see it.
It's an amazing thought. And that is exactly what we see happening, right? People that are afraid of how this is going to impact in our lives. AI is going to, like, actually, in both of the panels that were highly technical, one in corrosion and one in asset integrity, both on AI. One of the questions from the audience was, "This is going to take our jobs," and and I asked the audience. I'll try to put the chart. I asked the audience how many are using it, and it's large majority are using it. Yet everyone uses it with some sort of precaution, and then not understanding really capabilities or how can it be. But if we go back to the roots, it's exactly what you're saying, and I wrote it here. It's a
Mm-hmm.
human revolution because we are the ones that are training it. So this is a huge opportunity to have representation, to have our voices heard, and to use the voice that sometimes we think are invisible. And that's why I asked that question. Like, and you confirmed you had that same thought, like, why me? But then
I,
the answer was
yeah, because
beautiful, right?
it takes time, because it is a thought process. It's a reflective writer. I had to be able to put my argument forward
Mm-hmm.
as to the reason why I think this is the topic for now. This is the issue that they need to deal with now. And I mean, you could see the result of it, that obvious, it made sense, for them to say, let's collaborate, let's leverage on this proposal. And another thing that I would say as well, AI is in everything that we do. If you think about it, it's just when people hear the AI, it's always good to break it down. What do we mean by that? The essence of you using a mobile phone, it's got a mobile phone, a shower, the cars that we drive, everything, everything is an something was built. There was an input. That's the word. There was an input to get to get that output that we have. And this is why when you think about it, it's about harnessing and then working smarter. It's how we use it, for the better good. Because I could say within the agile space and in healthcare and STEM as a whole, you could see how, for example, now AI is helping clinicians, doctors. We're talking about personalized medicines. Like now, I could literally immediately I'm finished with the doctors, I can see my notes. Because as they're doing it, as we're conversing, my physician is already writing the notes. By the time I walk out the door, my note is ready for me. Did you see how quicker than before, where you have to wait ages before you're able to get to see the outcome of your visit to the doctors and things like that? But when we're thinking about the human in the loop, is where we're talking about empathy, we're talking about context, and we're talking about ethical judgment. That is where the human in the loop comes in. Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's only something that we can help with, because let's put it in simple terms. Like if we were speaking with children, we'll say, well, the robots can't feel, but humans can. So you can hug a robot and it'll feel nothing. But if you hug a person, they will feel something.
Yes.
And that is the analogy that I use. And as stupid as it sounds,
Like
it
that.
is pretty
Yeah.
much that, right? It's like, how can you help with that feeling? And it's very interesting. So, do you think so far? And I guess because they've put that call out, and then they were able to listen to different proposals or read different proposals. Do you think, what is the status of representation on the whole AI? Do we have enough of our voices in it? Is still not a lot, and I'm guessing the answer just by experience and without any, after being 23 years in STEM. But what is your point of view?
I feel, let me put it this way. One thing I've noticed is that a lot of decisions sometimes are made by experts or people that are not at the receiving end. So they're not the bottom line users. So let me say, for example, the robotics that we use in the lab, for example. Yeah. Do you know that they've made it to a certain specification? But if each laboratory is to make use of it, they need to tailor it to their own use. You're talking about their patient population. The way the automation will work in a children's hospital is different to how it will work in a general hospital, like adult hospital. So they still need to put that into consideration. So imagine they're developing such machinery to be used, and the people that will use it are not part of the discussion. You know already what's going to happen. And you got a background in labs as well, so you know exactly who's going to bear the brunt. Especially when things don't go according to plan. That is where we need to be. I always like to use the word be at the table where decisions are being made, especially decisions that determines the outcome of ABCD, of how we do our things. We need to be part of it, because that we are the one that is actively doing. Yeah. So we are the front line, as you would call it. And another example, another thing I want to say is there's a lot of work being done right now. People are speaking, absolutely. There is platforms now. This AI revolution, it's phenomenal, because everywhere you go, that's what they're talking about. Like literally everywhere. That is all. But in what way are we speaking about it? Is it just a buzz for us, or is it AI for good, AI for all? AI for all, who's going to have access? The people, even though it is for the better good, how is it going to impact them? Who has access? Access is really key. When you're thinking about, for example, I want to emphasize on the human in the loop, yeah? When you think about human provide context, right? AI can see patterns, but human will be able to see and understand the meaning of the patterns, correct? Yeah? The human are the one that provides the ethics. So AI can automate, but only the humans, which is us, can decide what it should optimize, right? We talk to it. It's like a conversation. And then it's us that sees the empathy. No algorithm can replace compassion, trust, or relational side, of care or education. Like we're talking about gendered harm. I love the fact that they're starting with that, because we're seeing a lot of that. We don't want something that is designed for the better good to now be the one that will cause harm to the people. We don't want that.
Absolutely. Like we've spoken in the previous podcast, is we need, together we are stronger, and it's only by showcasing those human sidelines of our features that we can get to that level. So it is very important. It makes me think that when we say, for example, access, there is a large portion of the population in countries like mine, like in Colombia, that don't have access. Still, they don't have, still don't have internet. So, most definitely, they have no idea of this. And how can we represent that? Well, it's a question, right? It's a question mark. So,
It is, because when you think about it, that's why I always say there are privilege and there are privilege. Yeah. Each one of us, there's a level of privilege that we have, right? That's why it's important that we use our voice as well for the greater good, because some, like you said, do not have this access. So you that have it, how are you using it to build? How are we? And that is what drives me a lot of the time, the things that I do, because sometimes it is tiring. It's
it is.
tiring because you're like, who's hearing? We've been talking about this how many years? Do you understand? And we're still speaking about the same thing. For example, equity for us women in STEM. It's still an ongoing stuff. Imagine even in the UK, in the US, in the Western world, there are still some areas where they don't have access. You'll be amazed. That is where they talk about. That is why the APPG focus is on the underrepresented groups.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that and that's the reason why. Because when you think about it, AI, it can reduce inequities. But the only way it can do that is if it's designed with fairness, transparency, and inclusion. What do we mean by inclusion? So, like, this work now is going to involve the people, not just the experts, not the developer. No, not it's going to involve the people. Exactly. Not the people that are coming to talk technicalities. No, the
Yeah.
people that can say in layman terms, this is how it's affecting me. This is my fear. How can you help to ensure, this fear is not amplified? How can we manage it? Yeah.
That's so important. You touched 2 points that are super key. I was getting emotional hearing you. And I don't have Kleenex nearby. So
It's true. Yeah.
it is such a reminder of the responsibility that we carry. Like, if a Latin American child is listening to this and they'll be like, Monica has done it.
Yes.
They'll be like, wow, if someone in your community is looking at you and you're doing all these amazing things, and it's like, oh my God, I look like her, I sound like her. Maybe that's me in the future. And this is the whole idea of this podcast, right? Is we have spoken with so many people around the globe, and that's the idea, that if there is someone somewhere, we carry that voice because they can't. And many times when I'm on a stage, that's the message, right? I'm here speaking because I know there are others that can't.
Yeah, there's this there's this book I was featured in few years back. I think it was back in 2023, called Voices in the Shadow. Yeah. So for us now, I've changed it to Voices Out of the Shadow, because our voice was once in the shadow, right? But now that we have the platform, the voice is coming out of the shadow, but it's coming out of the shadow for the ones that are still in the shadow. I know it sounds pathology, but you understand? Yeah.
Get it?
Yeah.
Totally.
For the
And
ones
if
that
you
are
don't
still
get
in
it,
the
just
shadow.
go back 10 seconds and then listening to this once again. Go back 10 seconds and listening to this again. It's important. Yeah.
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 Because we are who could have ever thought that my right arm, would be the one that was chosen to be worked on. That is a message. No, it's a message that I carry. It's a message in its own to, like you said, somebody like me, a Nigerian, a Black American, a Black, British woman, name it, somebody from the ethnic groups that we have. I don't like to use minorities. I like underserved. You understand? That we're coming from. They can see and be like, if you see the noise that has been made because of this, it's amazing. It's a message that needs to be amplified. It is a message of representation for people to know what is possible. It is telling us to come outside of our comfort zone. It wasn't, you know what? When I was writing the proposal, I had doubt in my mind. I did. But I knew that I poured my heart into it. I poured my heart into it. Coming from, like I said, is an experience. Do you understand? It's not something like you're just no, it's what you've seen. So it comes more naturally, and for now the voice to be amplified, it's a big deal, because if you think about, I think the way it is that many people see us out there and they're thinking, can I be that? Yes, you can be that. I was the one that was told, and I will always tell this story. Many people might be like, "Oh, you're not the first that would be told that you were told that you didn't have what it takes." But these things are still being said to people these days. Where they've been shun out, where they've been ignored, and access is critical.
It is.
Access.
It is, because how can we build the world we want for our children, or the children of the children, maybe, at
Mhm.
this space? But how can we build that if we don't have everyone at the table? And you have done something, Bami. It's like this opportunity didn't land on your lap, right? It's not like, here, oh, it seems like you should be a good candidate. Here you go.
Mm-mm.
No, it's like you poured yourself so many, like how many hours did you put into writing that, and then going back and forth and convincing yourself that your passion was meant to be shown, not only for you, but for everyone that is underserved, and that we needed to have that experience. And it's a lot of work. And sometimes we are tired, and we have kids, and we have parents that are old, and we're immigrants, and it's like, it is a lot. But when you have that centered and you're like, okay, who am I serving? Then that is where you have everything starts to fall into place. But this is just to say to the audience, you had worked really hard to be in the place that you're at.
Yeah.
That's why I'm so happy for you. Genuinely. Oh my God. I'm
Yep.
like,
You know the journey. You know the journey. The journey was not easy, but we keep moving so that we
exactly.
can have a better tomorrow, like you said, for my children, for my cousins, for my nephews, for my nieces, for all the young ones, for the mentees, for the people. You'll be amazed. Yesterday I heard of a testimony of somebody that's been watching me for about 3 months, and I didn't know. So yeah, watching me, of course, just trying to see who is this person. Come on, I didn't know that. That means we are like an open book. Yeah. So what legacy are we looking to leave? That is me. This for me is a legacy. Bami's voice heard in the parliament. Come on. What positive message is that sending globally? What positive message?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's not staying just there, it's going everywhere. And it's something that, like, that's why I said there cannot be any better representation for as women, underserved and in STEM,
Mm-hmm.
than someone that has walked on our shoes. Because sometimes matters that are only ours are being dealt by people that don't look like us.
Yep.
And they're not even female. So it's like, so it's interesting to see that now we have that opportunity. So thank you for.
Shall I make you laugh? Let me make you laugh. Over the weekend, and this will shock you. Over the weekend, a friend of mine and I, we were having a conversation, and it was to do with this AI because we were deliberating. And she said, "You know what? Let me try it," because she read some of the thing that I said in the thing, and then she said, "Let's try this." I said to her, "Go right now, go on either ChatGPT or any AI tool that you want to use, and ask it to give you a picture of a clinical engineer." Lo, ask me what picture he brought.
A guy.
Imagine it's even now. That was few days ago. I'm not joking. She sent me the picture. I said, "Send me the picture. I need this for for the record."
Listening, go to your very preferred
Mhm.
Copilot, Gemini, ChatGPT, whatever, and then put that prompt, and then tell us what is the result, because I
Yeah.
am pretty sure what is it. And now you made me remind of something. I was having this conversation a couple of weeks ago with someone technical, and then he had the opportunity to speak with a group of children. Sometimes we go and volunteer with schools. I do that a lot. But he went into school, and then to prove the children that is not, AI is not God. It doesn't have all the answers. It needs human. What did you say? It's a human revolution. We need
Mm.
information. And as simple as the prompt was, give me a picture of a left-handed handshake. So we're not talking even about men,
Mhm.
women,
Mhm.
Black, Latin, nothing. Like handshake, left-handed handshake. And it couldn't,
Mm.
because there are not a lot of pictures that they can draw from
Exactly.
going around from left-handed
Mhm.
people.
Mhm.
And my nephew, he is left-handed, and he's been saying for all his entire life that scissors, even when he was growing up, he had to adapt, and so he learned how to cut paper as a child with the right hand, because the left hand, there are no scissors for left-handed.
Imagine.
Something that little
Yes.
that impacts us all,
It
not
does.
only women. So it's like, wow, this is wild. So definitely we need representation.
Do you imagine? You know what? It reminds me of one of your posts that I read as well about that young child when you were crossing the road, and then the child saw it was the light. Was a female one. That is come on. That
And I
tells
was
you
thinking,
something. A child noticed that.
yeah. And I think because it is my son, right? And he's been with me all over, right? So he knows that all this firsthand.
Mhm.
But I'm sure that it has that impact on him, and he can then tell the classmates, or so it's like a ripple effect
Mhm.
that goes around. So it's very important to have that representation, and then that the conversations, and then including everyone, and then asking, being curious, and all that. So all that to say, Bami, we are almost at the end. This always goes so fast.
I know the conversation is like you could go on and on and on and on and on.
On and on. What
But
is
one thing
the
I'll just say though, as a for final note for me is that the thing about it is that AI is at its best when it's able to help us to become more human, more compassionate, like more creative and more connected. The thing that I would say is that the future of AI equity is really the future of human equity. So lend your voice, be involved. Be involved because it makes so much difference. There's no point saying, oh, like we just gave an example now that my friend said to GPT, give me a picture of, and that's what he brought. because that was what it was trained on. But guess what? She did the reprompting, which now say, draw me a picture of da specifically, and then it went back again and it tried to. So you see, it's just we are the one training it. That's our part. Every user of any AI tool is part of the training. So it's important what you pour in.
That's an important message. Is like, don't be content with the information that puts back. Like, you review it and you look at it. And if it doesn't make sense, go back and say, you know what, you're wrong.
Yeah.
This is what it is. And then that is helping the training side of it, and then helping hear the voices that we are representing, and then hear the voices that we want it to hear. So, Bami, any last message to our audience?
Yes. All I'll just say is AI will shape our society, absolutely. But the humans, us, we will shape the AI. But the thing is, our responsibility is just to ensure that we that it reflect our values, that we're able to protect our communities, and of course to expand opportunity for everyone. Remember, access for all. Access for all.
That's a beautiful closing. Thank you very much, Bami, for coming into the podcast, into our community. And everyone, stay put for the next episode, and then we'll keep talking about AI for sure. And we'll have this same interview 1 year from now to share everything that you've changed. And just know that at the material business community, we are applauding you and we are with you all this way.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Materials Business Podcast. Feel free to visit infinitygrowth.ca to see show notes and explore other episodes. If there's someone you think should hear this episode, please share with them. Take care of yourself and have a great rest of your day.